For a lot of people, bigger usually means better. But that's not the case for everyone. For those with limited parking spaces, or those who just want something cute, there is the Honda Brio. It recently got a facelift and a price bump. Is it still worth our money? Let's find out. Okay, so what we have here is the cheapest automatic variant of the Brio V. Now, a lot of the changes to this facelift are on the top of the line RS model. The changes on the V are a lot more subtle. Like you get a different grille here with this honeycomb pattern. It gets the same reflector halogen headlamps over here, and you don't get fog lamps. It rides on two-tone 14-inch wheels wrapped in skinny 55 series Dunlop tires. And thankfully you get a fender liner here for better noise insulation. The side mirrors are power adjustable, but they're not power folding. You'll have to fold them manually like so. You don't get a smart locking system. To lock or unlock the vehicle, you'd have to press the buttons on the key. No roof rails. You get drum brakes at the back and disc brakes at the front. As for the suspension, you get McPherson's at the front and a torsion beam at the back. Now, it's a very small car. I'm 5'8" and it's below shoulder level. Now at the back, the new Brio looks the same as the pre-facelift Brio. But the new one gets backup sensors, which would definitely come in handy because none of the variants come with a reverse camera. Looks are subjective, but I think the Brio is one of the best looking subcompact hatchbacks in its price bracket. Despite its tiny size, it still looks aggressive and sporty, and at least on the outside, it doesn't look much older than its competitors. I think these 14-inch wheels look a bit too small for the car. The 15s of the RS look much better, but that should be a very easy upgrade. One advantage of the Brio over its competitors like the Wigo and the Celerio is that it comes with a 4-cylinder engine. It has a lot more power at 90 horsepower and 110 Nm of torque. And because it's a 4-cylinder, it's better balanced than the 3 cylinders of its competitors. As you can see here, the engine is running, but you can barely see any vibration. Now compare that to the Wigo and you can clearly see a difference. Now much of that vibration is absorbed by rubber mounts, but you still feel a bit of it in the cabin. Now, as expected, the Brio gets a manual liftgate. And in here, space is not bad for a car of its size. You can fit at least one medium-sized luggage bag here and a couple of backpacks. And if you need more space, you can fold the second row seats. Now to fold the second row seats, you have to pull on both of these tabs right here at the same time. And since it's such a narrow vehicle, you can do it with no problems. So that's what it looks like with the second row folded. You don't get a flat flooring over here, but the space does expand quite a lot. The cargo space expands enough to fit our sponsor for today. Introducing the AtoSport Mobility Scooter. The world's most innovative mobility scooter. It folds into a small suitcase size and it has wheels so you can move it around like a trolley. It separates into two parts. It has leather seats and grips, an illuminated LCD dashboard, enhanced lighting for extra visibility. You can install optional armrests. It's perfect for seniors as it's easy to lift and unfolds in seconds. It has a maximum speed of 10 kph, shock-absorbing flat-free tires, high ground clearance, advanced braking system. Be free to travel anywhere, land, sea, or air. It has 20 kilometers of continuous driving range. Engineered with flair, designed with passion for performance. Be active, be free, be yourself. Atto Sport, moving life. Okay, so here on the inside, the new Brio looks almost exactly the same as the pre-facelift Brio. Like the pre-facelift Brio, everything here is made of hard plastic, hard plastic, hard plastic, hard plastic, hard plastic, hard plastic, which is expected really for a car in this class and price bracket. The seats of the V are covered in fabric. They're both manually adjustable. The steering wheel is made of polyurethane plastic. You have buttons here for your volume and also for your tuning. The steering wheel tilts, but it doesn't telescope. The infotainment screen is now a Kenwood aftermarket head unit. It has Apple CarPlay, it has Android Auto, but you don't get a reverse camera. So I believe this is camera ready though, so if you want to go through the hassle, you can install a camera at the back and use the same infotainment screen. You have single zone climate control down here, a 12-volt outlet. Now you won't find any USB ports on the dashboard or anywhere on the center console. To find it, you'll have to go underneath the glove box. So this cable over here is your USB port. If you want to connect your phone, you'll have to connect it through here. It's an aftermarket solution for an aftermarket head unit. You don't get a push start button. You'll have to put the key in the ignition to start the car. In terms of storage, the glove box is decently sized. It's not dampened, which is expected. You have some storage over here for your phone. You have two cup holders down here. Enough storage on the door cards for a small water bottle. And you have a small compartment over there for smaller items. I like how the headliner is finished in black. It gives the interior a more uniform look. Yeah, overall it's a pretty basic interior, but at this price that is really expected. But in terms of ergonomics and space, I have no complaints. Despite its small size, space is not really an issue here at the front. Now the Brio is a very small car, so you might expect space here at the back to be very limited. But it's actually not that bad. Legroom is quite adequate. It's more than adequate actually. Headroom is about 1.5 to 2 inches. It's just that this window line over here is pretty low, so you'll have to duck when getting in and out of the car, like so. Otherwise, you hit your head here. In terms of toys, you don't get a center armrest, you don't get USB ports, you don't get USB ports, and you don't get air con vents. But the car is small enough that it's okay not to have air con vents back here. You can still feel the air coming from the air con vents, even if the fan speed is set to low. The flooring is not completely flat, but the tunnel is not that high, so it's not going to be a problem for the center passenger. Yeah, so legroom and headroom are not bad, but it's a very narrow car, so you probably have enough space here for 2 people of my size to sit comfortably. You can fit a third one of my size, but it's going to be quite cramped back here. Because it's so small, the Brio feels right at home in the city. You can easily zip through traffic, you can pass through tight alleyways, and tight drive-thrus are never an issue. But unlike its main competitors, which excel in the city but are not so ideal at highway speeds, the Brio feels at home both in the city and on the highway. And that's mainly because of its power-to-weight ratio. So the Brio has 90 horsepower, which may not seem like much, but for such a small car, it actually feels more than adequate. It's not quick, but it gives you a good sensation of speed. 60 kph feels like 80 in this car. Now it feels quicker than it actually is because 1, you're low to the ground, and 2, the NVH levels are not particularly good. So it's more like it sounds like you're going faster than you actually are. If you're used to driving vehicles a price bracket above this, it might initially feel like you're driving with an open window, as quite a bit of outside noise penetrates into the cabin. But in this price bracket, it is normal, and it's even better than its competitors like the Wigo. Like the Wigo, the Brio also comes with a CVT, which is good for fuel economy, but not the best for those with a heavy foot. By that I mean when you quickly step on the gas, it feels like there's a delay in the delivery of power. Like you hear the noise before you feel the increase in speed. Also, the Brio doesn't do simulated shifts, so you get that constant drone when you put the pedal to the metal. But then again, it's not really worse than its competitors, as they mostly come with CVTs too. 0 to 100 kph can be done in under 12 seconds, which I believe is quicker than the Vios 1.3. The Brio is one of the most fun subcompact hatches for the money. It feels light, it's nimble, it is basic, which reminds me of the older Hondas like the AG, and it has decent power for its weight. Compared to the Wigo, which has 66 horsepower, the 90 horsepower of the Brio is a very noticeable upgrade. And despite the more potent engine, it is still very fuel efficient. And the good thing about it is that even though it has more power and it's more fun to drive than the Wigo, it is still very fuel efficient. In the city, I get about 12, 13 kpl even with traffic. On the highway, I can get up to 23. And look at this, I've been driving this for a couple of days now, and look at my fuel gauge, it's still almost full. The Honda Brio V sells for 827,000 pesos. At that price, it is just 26,000 pesos less than the Brio RS. And for that price difference, you get bigger 15-inch wheels on the RS, you get LED headlamps, side skirts, a rear spoiler, and power folding side mirrors. I think the 26,000 peso price difference is worth it because of the functional and aesthetic upgrades. So if you can't fork out that extra 26,000, I say go for the RS instead of the V, as it offers better value for money. It should be noted though that even the top spec variant lacks a reverse camera, a push-start button, and leather seats. Now at this price, you can get a larger Japanese sedan or even a Chinese crossover with a lot more space. But if you're specifically looking for a small hatchback, I think the Brio is still a good option because of the engine. It has the power to make your drive a bit more fun. It gives you confidence to overtake on the highway, but it still returns excellent fuel economy. Now, as for how it stacks up to the competition like the Wigo and the Celerio, the competition has the advantage when it comes to tech. Like the Wigo has a push-start button and a reverse camera, while the Brio, even in top spec form, doesn't. But you can add features like a reverse camera later on. The engine, you're pretty much stuck with for the rest of the car's life. So I think that should be a major consideration. And the engine of the Brio, I think, is vastly superior to its competitors.